Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in this video today, as the title suggests, I'm going to be telling you about what's gone wrong with my Discovery 5 since I've owned it. For the past 2.5 years I've had this car, all the things that have gone wrong from day one until the current day today. So my car is a Discovery 5 HSE Luxury. It's a 2018 car, and I bought it probably about, I think it was 9 months old when I bought the car, and since day one there have been some issues with the car, ranging from very minor, mild issues that you sort of expect with a Land Rover to more significant ones, which I'm going to go on to explain in this video. And I'm going to start with the basic and work our way up to the more serious ones in this video. I'm also going to add, when I bought this car, it was from a Land Rover dealer, and the car itself had been owned previously by one of the Land Rover managers. So it's always been looked after by Land Rover, been serviced well, and not had a bad history as far as abuse goes. So all these problems are pretty standard, I guess, with this type of car. Now, if you're new to my channel here on YouTube, The Doctor's Garage, please go ahead and subscribe, like this video, and let me know in the comments below what you think, or your experience of owning a Discovery 5 or any Land Rover product. What's gone wrong with your car? Are they similar things that I'm talking about in this video? Let me know. I'll be really interested to hear in the comments below. Now, I'll start with the first thing. So the electronics in the car. Now, that might sound something that everyone has with Land Rovers, but it is an issue with Land Rovers. In particular, I've noticed in this car, coming from Mercedes before, the electronics, the sat nav, whether it comes on and off sometimes, is a bit temperamental, and there's nothing really that changed with that. It hasn't got worse with age with this car, but sometimes, for example, the display doesn't start up when you start the car. You've got to restart the car and put it back on. Certain electronic glitches I've noticed with freezing of the system, and I've had my system updated when it was serviced last, but still have a few problems with that when I'm trying to connect my phone, and certain technical electronic issues like that. Doesn't really bother me too much, but I think it's something that I still think you should be aware of if you are buying this car and are changing from a different type of car that you might have had previously. Say you had another German brand of car and you moved to a Land Rover. That's something different. That's something you won't find with the other manufacturers. It's something that I've really noticed with this car more than probably I would have liked to when I first bought the vehicle. The first kind of technical problem with this car was to do with the suspension. So it was about 1.5 years old, and one day it wouldn't rise up and settle down like it normally did on the air suspension, wouldn't go into off-road mode or access height, and the display was saying something about the terrain modes not being able to be activated. It wasn't really bothering that much, but the ride was also a lot more stiff, and so I called Land Rover Assist actually to come out to the car, and that's a great feature when this car is just 3 years old and you have the Land Rover Assist. You can press the button here and they do come out, and when they did, they said there was basically a leak in the rear air suspension. So there was a crack in one of the air suspension cylinders, I believe, in the back of the car. They replaced that, sealed it, and it was all sorted. But it's a bit of a weird problem because I have never driven this car off-road. I very much use this car for on-road driving, like probably most people do that have a Discovery 5. So it wasn't something I was expecting, but that was a problem that I noticed. I haven't seen that in any forums or any other videos that that's an issue, but it was something that happened to my car within 1.5 years. So about, what was it, just over 2 years old that happened to this vehicle. Now, by far the worst problem that I had with this car was the fact that one day it wouldn't start properly, and when it started it would idle for a bit and then it would cut out. And it was always, weirdly, it was during the summer. I think it was, this car was 2.5 years old, getting on to just about 3 years old. It was summertime, and the car, when you particularly had air conditioning on, it would really struggle to be able to accelerate away. It felt almost like there was a loss of power when you accelerated, particularly when the air conditioning was on and putting the engine under extra load. It was a really hard problem to diagnose because when I first took it to the garage, it wouldn't always do it. So it wouldn't do it when I first showed the guys at Land Rover. They couldn't see a problem with it. But then other days it would have this problem where it kind of lagged and wouldn't really pick up, and then it would actually just cut out and stall completely. And bearing in mind this car's an automatic car, it was a bit weird for that to happen. I had to record quite a few episodes of it happening on my phone to show the guys at Land Rover that when the car revved and when I was trying to pull away, it would just stall and cut out. The other thing that happened as well is when you were idling, it was kind of, it wasn't idling smoothly, so it was kind of moving, going boom, 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 ticking up and down when you were sat still. So it was quite weird. Took it into Land Rover. At the time, the first thing they said to me is they were trying to diagnose it. They looked through all the problems that any problem they could find by plugging it in. They couldn't find anything at all. There was nothing wrong with the car. They did take a fuel sample out of the car, and they then said to me actually that I'd put the wrong fuel in the car. So they said they had found a tank full of petrol in the car when this car is a diesel. Fortunately, it was during one of the lockdowns and I wasn't actually going into any fuel stations to pay for my fuel. I was using the BP app, so I had every single transaction that I'd put in the car, what fuel I put in, how much I put in, and what dates up to that point that the car started having these problems. So I showed them this and was like, look, I haven't filled up anywhere else. These are the fuel. This is the fuel I've used. Guarantee I haven't put petrol in this car. In fact, I haven't owned a petrol car for a number of years, so it's just not something I would do. Anyway, they persisted that this was still the problem, and was saying, right, look, this is the issue. It's got petrol in it. It's been contaminated. You need to speak to BP, tell them their fuel pump's got giving out petrol rather than diesel. So I went through this whole thing with BP at the time. But anyway, they ended up draining the fuel tank, replacing the fuel tank, and putting diesel in, and the car still had the problem. And that was quite reassuring to me in a way, because I was thinking, well, this isn't my problem, and this is fortunately still a warranty problem, not my problem that I put petrol in the car or BP had. So it closed that route off for me with BP, but it meant that still the car wasn't fixed. They ended up looking more in detail at the engine, trying to work out exactly what was going on, and eventually found that the engine block had a crack in it. They couldn't explain why that was the case, but they said the engine block had a crack in it, and they needed to replace the entire engine to fix the problem. Now, as you can imagine, for me at the time, I was thinking that sounds expensive, and I was reassured by the fact that I was just within my warranty periods. This was just getting up to 3 years from new for this car. So fortunately, the whole engine replacement was done under warranty, which I'm very grateful for. But the car was in the workshop for about 6 weeks at the time, so didn't have a car for that long, and had a few different cars off Land Rover at the time to make up for that. So I still to this day do not know what caused the engine problem just under the 3-year mark, but nevertheless this car has had a brand new engine put into it. Frustratingly though, I did speak to Land Rover afterwards and said, look, because it's had a brand new engine, I'm worried what about the other components, because something's obviously caused the cylinder block to crack. And so I wanted some reassurance that, well, you know, in 2 months' time when the warranty runs out, what's going to happen to this engine if, let's say, the turbos go or something else goes in the engine as a result of this problem that had obviously occurred, that caused so much damage to the engine that it cracked the block. There's no warranty offered on the engine, even though they put a new engine into the car. There's no warranty further offered. So as soon as you get out the 3-year period, you lose all warranty cover, even on an engine that's only a month old, which was quite frustrating. And now, because I'm out of the warranty period, I actually pay for the Land Rover extended warranty with this car, because I still feel something might happen to this vehicle that I'm a bit worried about. So yeah, that was quite a big issue with the car. Obviously not something I wanted to happen, not something I was expecting to happen, but actually after being on forums and on YouTube as well, I've seen quite a few people that have had a very similar story of engines breaking and needing replacing completely, which is quite odd for a car that costs this much brand new, but also hasn't been driven particularly rough. It certainly didn't do any off-road driving or anything like that. So I think if you're looking for a car, this is a 2-litre engine, I might add. If you're looking for a car with a 2-litre engine and you're looking at it just out the warranty period, I'd be really careful about that, because the bill for replacing the engine is probably around the £15,000 to £20,000 mark, I'm led to believe from people that have told me that have had to pay for it themselves outside of warranty, which is a big bill for this car. So as the car got out of warranty period, what's happened since then? Well, it just got over 3 years old, and one day I went to the car to try and open it, and it completely didn't open at all. It wouldn't unlock, and then when I did manage to get into the car, it wouldn't start. The battery was completely dead. Now, up to this period, the car had been saying low battery warning, and to be honest, I'd kind of discounted that as the electronic issues that this car generally has. Since early with this car, since I first owned it, it's always come with low battery warnings on and off throughout owning the car. And I think unless you're doing, a 3 to 4 hour drive every single week in the car, it does seem to get a low battery really quickly. The HSE Luxury has a lot of electronics in the car, so you've got the TVs in the headrest, the electronic roof. I'm told that when the car's left unlocked, it actually keeps running the battery and drains the battery. So that was the next problem that happened. I had to replace a battery in this car. It was out of warranty, obviously, and Land Rover told me, I think, getting 3 to 4 years, they do generally need a new battery to put charge back into the vehicle. So I ended up doing that too, and I did that myself. It's available actually in a YouTube video that I did on one of these corners here. You can watch replacing that if you're having that problem with your car in particular. Now, that's pretty much all the issues with this car, and there are quite a few as you can see. But there's another one as well, which was when I was trying out some of the features on the car really late on after owning the car. So let's say after the 3 year period, I was looking at some of the camera setup and the 4x4 cameras that you can switch on, and you can see all the cameras, like the front ones, one of the wing mirrors, and this camera on this side, on this wing mirror, it seems to be backwards. And that's really weird because it's not like it's been damaged or bent, it's just backwards and zoomed in a bit. And I think that's because it was fitted badly, I can only imagine. But again, I'm not really sure. I haven't actually mentioned it to Land Rover when I've had the car serviced because I'm quite terrified it's out of warranty now. They're going to say, oh, it's because you did something, you hit a wing mirror or something like that. So I've just left it actually. It's never a camera that I really use unless you're on that 4x4 mode and you can see the cameras. But it's still another thing I thought was worth mentioning in this video. So, as you can see, quite a few issues I've had with this car. By far and large, the main one was having to have a new engine in the car, which was quite a shock to me at the time. The car itself, I do love my Discovery. I really do. I think it is the best 7-seat family car on the market at the moment for the way it looks, the way it drives, the way it performs. But it does have these issues, and there is no doubt that Land Rovers in particular do have more problems than other manufacturers from what I see online, from what people talk about. So would I get this car again? I do love the Discovery, I love the Land Rover products, I think I probably would, but I'd be very careful about some of those points I've mentioned, particularly the engine one. If you're looking to buy a car that's second hand and you're in that kind of period just for the warranty, check out some of the history and some of the issues that have happened to the car you're buying. I hope you've enjoyed that video and you found it useful. If you've got a Discovery or you're maybe looking to buy a Discovery, check out my other videos about all of that. I've also got a Defender 90 TD5, so you can check that out too on my channel. And I'll see you in the next video.